Hello everyone and welcome back to the Hill Country Zoo. Last week we managed to update the river otter habitat into a beautiful underwater gallery. Before it was just a hole in the ground with water in it, but our otters seem so much happier now. They're willing to play outside, rain or shine, and have actually had a litter of 2 pups named Drizzle and Sprinkle because they were born in the rain. Despite the addition of these otter pups, our youngest addition to the zoo is a healthy male pronghorn named Pot Pie. He's quickly learning how to run and leap around his habitat. We also had a successful raccoon breeding, which resulted in a melanistic female who will be released to the wild once she reaches maturity, which shouldn't be too long from now. Today's goal is to demolish the dilapidated clouded leopard exhibit and rebuild it for the new ocelots. A female ocelot has just entered our care and needs a new home to hopefully raise cubs in someday. We plan to breed her and release her cubs into the wild to assist in the highly fragmented populations of ocelots in southern Texas. So, let's dive in. First, we obviously need to demolish the old habitat so we can start from the ground up. This habitat once housed a female clouded leopard named May, who was brought to us from the exotic pet trade. She lived a long, happy life here, but it's time to repurpose her old habitat into something a little newer. The plan is to have a unique rock cave that will shelter guests from the baking Texas sun, or any torrential downpours that may occasionally happen. The path will lead you around the outskirts of the butterfly garden, through this cool cave, and out towards the Alamo at the center of the zoo. I like to use null barriers to help map out where the actual barriers of the habitat will be, just so I can get a good idea of the size of the habitat without having any clipping issues that tend to happen with other barriers. Alright, with the path and barriers roughly set in place, we can start working on our faux rock walls to actually create the cave. Much of the Texas Hill Country is made of limestone and sandstone sediment layers. The rocks tend to be quite light and heavily layered. I did my best to create a bright stone wall that we could use that didn't have like 5 million pieces in it. A high piece count can make the game run a little slower at times, so I do my best to avoid these when at all possible. The rock work for this habitat was extensive, so I'll spare you the hours it took me to get each rock exactly in its place. Just know that the cliff face behind the butterfly garden is now lined in our stones, as well as the back of the ocelot's habitat. I like to use the colorable faux rocks to make rock work that isn't really a color of the in-game rocks, but I also like to include rocks that are in-game that are a little bit more naturally textured, like these temperate rocks. I think it helps break things up and introduces a contrasting color to the actual rocks. Alright, and after all of that rock work, it's time for some more. A custom rock archway was made to be an inviting opening to the cave on both sides. I imagine as guests walk past the entrance, they can feel the cool misters that are spraying inside. In the 100+ degree days, those misters are probably very inviting. Next, we have a new habitat barrier made from a mud wall, one-way glass, and a couple other details like wood and marquee beams. I wanted to use something simple and not distracting when looking into the enclosure. An entire cave is already pretty distracting enough, and I don't want to take away from the beauty of the ocelots. Finally, we can finish up with the cave and start to work on the rock walls that are around the actual viewing gallery to really solidify the whole cave vibe. Guys, I had to take a small break from building because Oscar! Oh, that was absolutely tragic. Rest in peace, Oscar. We'll miss you, buddy. Oh, poor Oscar. Here comes our vet. I'm gonna get him. Poor Oscar. That means you guys know what time it is. Oscar Memorial. Rest in peace, Oscar and Rosa. You guys will be forever missed. Poor things. That means we're gonna have to decide who is taking over as the breeding pair of our otters so that we can continue to release them into the wild. I think what we're gonna have to do is make a good decision here. A lot of our otters are actually a little bit on the older side, including our new otter Sylvia. So I think what we might do, let's look and see what kind of otter quality we've got. Let's just go, no, this one, there we go. So our highest quality otter is actually one of our newest otter pups named Drizzle. So I think we will keep him as a breeding male, and the rest of these guys will be put on contraceptive or sent out into the wild. Now I think Vanilla and Peter and Dexter and Erica would all do really well out in the wild, and so I think it's time for them to go have a wonderful time out in the wild rivers of Texas. Goodbye, guys. So that means we will need to get a mate for Drizzle once he's grown. That's what we will need to do. So he will be our breeding male as soon as he's old enough, because he is the highest quality otter, and we want to produce high quality otters to release to the wild, don't we? Okay, anyway, back to what I was doing over there. After a brief break to wish Oscar farewell, it's time to hop back into building. Now, our newest Ocelot, B, was allowed into the unfinished habitat to give us a good idea of the size requirement she might need, as well as any weak points in our security. We had to expand our rockwork and the habitat pretty significantly to offer B an indoor enclosure away from guest prying eyes. Ocelots are very shy animals, and too many people could be overwhelming. They tend to hide when they're nervous, and if they see a lot of people, that could be quite often. It's ideal to give B and her potential new cubs a nice place to hide from prying eyes. Now, ocelots live in a range all across Central and South America, but what a lot of people don't know is that they actually live in Texas as well. Ocelots used to be abundant in most of Texas, but were hunted for their beautiful pelts or, unfortunately, run over on the roads. Although ocelots currently are listed as least concern on the IUCN, with 800,000 to 1.5 million estimated individuals, the Texas population is estimated to be fewer than 100. These individuals live in small, fragmented populations in the very southern reaches of Texas called the Rio Grande Valley. That's where I live. The zoo I volunteer at has an annual Ocelot Conservation Day that includes activities and a 5K run. All the proceeds from this event benefit the Laguna Atascosa National Wildlife Refuge, where the remaining Texas ocelots can be found. It's pretty amazing stuff. We currently have 2 ocelots at the zoo, and they are very, very shy. I've only been able to see them twice. They hide really well and are quite sneaky. In Bee's enclosure, I've been planting lots of foliage to keep her sheltered from the hot sun and make sure she has plenty of places to hide if she feels threatened. Because of the warm, humid temperatures, tropical plants aren't too hard to keep in the hill country of Texas, and they can thrive with the right amount of water. With how much it actually rains at this zoo, I don't think our plants will have any trouble at all. I like to use the Brazil nut tree to act as like a climbing plant up the sides of rocks. I think it looks particularly nice against the light colored stones that we used on the faux rock wall. I think that the dark foliage really stands out, as well as using custard apple trees up the rock walls, I think really helps to make this area look a lot more lush than the rest of the zoo. In Texas, ocelots live in shrublands, so they have some trees, but they're more shrub-like trees, and we don't really have those in Planet Zoo. Well, we might have some, but the mesquite tree is the most common, and it is a tree that doesn't grow very tall, but it definitely grows very thick. They are really abundant here in Texas, and I'm actually allergic to them. So every year, around this time of year, March, April, May, I have horrendous allergies because the mesquite trees are blooming. But a fun fact, my brother actually makes mesquite bean jelly because the mesquite trees grow beans, and you can make a jelly out of them. It looks like we're adding the finishing details, including some small temperate rocks here and there, large logs, and some tree stumps for the ocelots to climb on. We've also added some dedicated climbing structures for the ocelots as well. Hopefully they will stay out of the trees and just use their climbing structures, but we'll see. I actually greatly despise building climbing frames, so the more blueprints I could use, the better. These are actually Planet Zoo blueprints that I edited to make them a little bit more what I'm looking for. You'll notice that I also occasionally will jump back towards where the cave is to look through the guest perspective, just to make sure that everything is lining up properly. I want the guests to be able to see the ocelots on their climbing structures, and I also place trees in specific parts of the habitat to help shade the setting sun through that glass so that it'll be easier to see without so much glare for our guests. With all of that complete, let's see how our ocelots are enjoying their new habitat. Looks like Bee and her new mate Sancho are exploring their new home and doing their best to settle in. Hopefully the transition to a new zoo isn't too stressful for them, but they are quite sensitive cats, so we will definitely be keeping an eye on them and making sure that they can settle in properly. This is Bee. She's a middle-aged ocelot, but she can definitely still have kittens if she would like. It would be great if we could have at least 1 or 2 litters of cubs from her, but we shall see. Ocelots aren't the easiest to reproduce in captivity. I'm not entirely sure what the Planet Zoo Zoopedia says, but at least in my experience at our zoo, it's been quite difficult to have ocelot cubs. So hopefully we'll have better success here in the Hill Country Zoo. And this is Sancho. He is actually on loan from a different zoo. And when he fulfills his contractual obligation to help us have cubs, he will go back to that zoo until we need him again. Alright everybody, welcome to the Ocelot Odyssey. It looks like it's very busy right now, even though it's raining, which is pretty good. I'm glad that there are a lot of people coming to enjoy our beautiful ocelots. I figured I might just take you guys on a tour of our cool little cave in here. I have to say, it's not guaranteed that you are going to see an ocelot when you come here, and that's just the nature of seeing shy animals. Sometimes you just don't see them at the zoo, and that's okay. I think they may be hiding. Oh look, there's one right now. Yeah, they're hiding inside because of the rain. And our keepers need to come deal with this nasty pumpkin. It seems that the ocelots are not terribly interested in it, so we might need to move it or place it with a different kind of enrichment that they actually find fulfilling. I believe this may be the male. Our male ocelot on loan from a different zoo. His name is Sancho, and that is his absolute favorite place to sit, is up there on that little ledge up there, but it might not be him. It might be his mate. But yeah, this is about as good of a view as you're going to get of these ocelots because they are very, very shy creatures. And hopefully the kittens will come down here and play a little bit more. But we don't have any yet. We are waiting for these two to reproduce. And then once... Oh, wait, this was Bee. I thought it was Sancho. Hello, Bee. She's so beautiful. But yeah, once Bee is pregnant, then Sancho will go back to his official home, which is in the trading center. And Bee will have her cubs, and they will live happily as a little family until her cubs are old enough to be released into the wild. Oh, she does actually like the pumpkin. Alright, I'm glad you're enjoying that. Okay, so we have a lot of stuff going on right now. Sancho has low welfare. Stress? You can't even see them. It's the one-way glass. Oh gosh. How am I going to deal with the stress if they have one-way glass already? Okay, I'm going to have to do some thinking about that for Sancho. Let's see. Pronghorn has some dangerous fighting, so I've replaced our Pronghorn. We've added some new ones, of course. And it looks like Pot Pie has officially grown up. So we're going to send him to the trading center so that we can keep him for later. Let's see. Okay, Sancho is stressed. The raccoon habitat is too small. Yes, I know. There's way too many raccoons in here, but... Oh my gosh, there's so many raccoons. We're gonna have to deal with that when we get to the raccoons. And our vets are working on the Ocelot research, which is perfect. Is there anything else they could be researching? Yes, diseases. Research those diseases. The more we know, the better. Okay. How about we release some of our adult-grown raccoons into the wild? I think that's probably... Let's release them into the wild. Oh, not everybody? You and you? And Valora, I think? There we go. Much better. Okay, hopefully they are a little bit more pleased about that. I hear other animals fighting over here. Skunks. Fighting skunks, okay. Let's see. You're an outsider. And you're an outsider. And you are outsiders as well. So we're also going to release you guys to the wild. Why does it not... Okay, you two, get out of here. There we go. So now we just have the current juveniles and the two parents. This is a busy place, isn't it? How are the armadillos? Still just babies. Our fox little pack is absolutely huge. Looks like our lead male is old enough. Oh, they're both infertile now. Okay. Oh my gosh, we have so many foxes. Okay, I think what we're going to do is we're going to... The white foxes, we are going to sell them. Because we want to release the healthiest foxes into the wild. And typically albino animals are not the most healthy and we don't want the wild populations to suffer. So these guys we will release to the wild. And they should be good to go. You too, Ian. There we go. Alright, and we have one fox in the trade center for when these two unfortunately pass away. Okay, let's see. Any other habitats that are struggling right now? We have one elderly bobcat, in quotation marks, so he's doing fine. Our peccaries should be just fine. Yeah, they're doing great. The fallow deer... There are way too many fallow deer in here. Oh my gosh, there are way too many in here. Okay. Who are your children? Because we really need to get rid of them. No offense, but... let's see. So, Steve is our male, so I think we should get rid of this one. And this one. I think we will sell them. Yeah. And then let's go look at our maturity. And we need exhibit only. Yeah, so these are all babies that we need to give contraceptives to so that nobody inbreeds. Yep, you get it. You get it. And Drizzle we leave off because he's going to be our alpha male otter. There we go. Okay. I think this is good. Sophie, who are you related to? Let's compare mates to Steve. Inbreeding. Okay, Sophie is already pregnant, which is not great, but we're going to give her contraception. Oh, goodness. All right. Things are looking better now. Yeah, I think things are looking a little bit better. And Sophie, I think, is just about to have her offspring. Okay, hi, Sophie. So I'm not sure that I've mentioned this in the playthrough so far, but the animals that are not native to Texas, I am going to sell them. And we really should not be breeding the animals that aren't native to Texas. I just really wanted to breed Steve, because look at him. He's glorious. I just couldn't pass it up. But we will say, was this Sophie's baby? No. Maybe this one. She gave birth in the bushes. Sophie, who's your baby? Where is she? Sophie? Who is your child? There we go. This one. Okay. I cannot reach you. Can you get out of the bush? Alright, here's what we're gonna do. Oh, no, here she comes. There we go. We're gonna name her Blackthorn. After the bush that she was born in. Okay. Vet research is complete. That's great. Cinnamon is stressed. Oh, she's not stressed. Oh no. Oh no. I chose the wrong raccoons to keep. Oh gosh. Okay. Contraceptive. No raccoon babies for a while. Oh, what chaos. Okay. I was going to say that for right now, we were given a grant to breed fallow deer. We were asked to breed them so that we could introduce them into the wild, wherever they are from. Let's find out. So they are of least concern, but perhaps there are some fragmented populations in Europe that require some new genetics So we have been asked to breed our very large population of European fallow deer so that we can indeed release them into the wild in Europe. So for right now, we are breeding them, and we will not breed them for forever. Steve is just really cool, and I wanted to see if he would give us some melanistic babies, and obviously he has. So when Steve has passed his prime, we will say that all of the deer that we have managed to breed are helping the populations, and that's all of the deer that we actually needed to reproduce. So that's what we'll say. So we are not breeding our other exotics unless we get a request like we did for the fallow deer. So for instance, our emus are not breeding. We only have female zebras. We have all of our giraffes on contraceptives, and we only have one male tiger. But if we get a request, for instance, to help with the Bengal tiger populations, then we can bring in a female and breed them in the future. But that'll come when we actually are working on the tiger habitat. Oh, and now B is stressed. I don't know how to help you guys. I mean, how do I... What if we take their barrier and move it away from the path a little bit? Like so. And can we... Okay, good. Let's go like this. Yep. It's probably going to make it harder for the guests to see, but it is what it is, I guess. We'll give them like that. Is that a bit better for you guys? It's still not too terrible in here. Oh gosh, a peccary died. Of old age, that's good. Sorry, Manuel. Alright, B, are you feeling a little bit better about this? Sancho? I think this is helping. I think it is. B, is still not expecting cubs. Well, hopefully this will help them with their stress and they'll feel a little bit more comfortable. Okay. Our striped skunks are maturing. So we will release them into the wild. Oh, it's so cute that they get inside this bowl. Are they supposed to get inside this bowl? Something tells me no. Alright, release you. Release you. Not you. What about you? No. And a prairie dog is dying. Oh gosh. Okay. Oh no, and one of our zebras is dying. Oh jeez. Chaos. Absolute chaos. Okay. Alright. So, we have managed to make this look a little bit nicer, I think, this area. I've done a little bit of work here and there. Okay, let's get rid of the dead zebra. Yeah, I've done a little bit of work here just to make it look a little bit more presentable. Some work off screen. I've added some little like planters and some retaining walls, if you will, just to kind of make things look a little bit nicer. And hopefully people like it. This is still temporary. I'm going to work on this later, but I'm not terribly inspired by entrances at the moment, so I'll get to it. But I think this is all looking quite good. So after the Ocelot Odyssey, you're going to be able to walk through this this cave and then over this bridge and up to the Alamo, which obviously needs some work. But we will get there, slowly but surely. So, what do you guys think should be our next habitat to deal with? Perhaps the prairie dogs, who I think are all gone? Oh no, there's a few in here, okay. Well, they are dying currently, so we may not have any prairie dogs to deal with the next time we're here, actually. But what do you guys think we should jump on next? Obviously, our next closest habitat would be the fallow deer. But we could always jump to one of the exotics, maybe the tigers, or one of these guys over here. The raccoons obviously need some serious assistance. What do you guys think? I will leave that completely up to you guys where we go next. Whichever animal you would like. They all need help. Every single exhibit needs assistance, so whichever one you guys want to start with is where we'll go. We also want to add coyotes over here with the new DLC, so if you guys want to see coyotes instead, then let me know. But I think that may be all I have. And unless I keep, unless I get out of here, I'm gonna keep finding things to do because there's so much going on in such a huge zoo. So let's go find our ocelots. And if you guys have any name suggestions for our ocelot cubs, if they ever decide to have any, then let me know. Hopefully poor Bee will feel a little bit more comfortable in her new home. It might take her a little while to get used to the new habitat. But once she does have cubs, it'll be really exciting to see them. They'll be super cute. And I can't wait. Oh, wow. Very cute. She's adorable. All right, Bee. I hope you enjoy your new habitat, and I hope you get to know Sancho a little bit better, and I hope that you get comfortable here. Alright, well I think that's all for today's video, so if you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and leave me a comment about kitten names and which animal you guys want to see next. And if you join me for my next video, I'll see you then.